who wants to make little pom-poms with me? We have all these cute pom-poms you can do all sorts of projects with. I am currently making these to put on the end of a blanket. Look how happy they are. Squish, squish, squish. All right. First thing, this is how a pom-pom maker looks. So you can open up two sides of it, and then you can pull it apart. Simply just put it back together, put the pin back in the hole, and you close the sides. And there's your pom-pom maker. Okay, so first to make it, you open the one side and hold your yarn with the left finger if you're right-handed and start wrapping around. Squish it down to make sure you get nice thickness on the corners there. You just want to wrap it around evenly across the whole half side of this pom-pom maker to get a nice even and dense pom-pom. Okay. Yarn being difficult here. And I'm using a 2-ply yarn that I caked into a 4-ply yarn, basically. That's why you see 2 strands, because I needed it to be 4-ply, not 2-ply. I used my yarn winder to make it into a nice cake here. You can see, I made a nice, neat little cake. Don't eat it though, it's not for eating. All right, and just wrap it around the corners here. Make sure it's evenly distributed. And I'm gonna make this thick enough so that this little gap here is almost gonna be flat. That's how thick I'm gonna make my pom-pom. And I'm just gonna keep wrapping it evenly and evenly around and round we go until the thickness is achieved. And so making sure it has a even tension across so that your strands are about the same length when you cut them will help you make sure your pom-pom is ready to go once you cut it, so you don't have to go around and trim it a bunch once it's made. So just make sure it's nice and snug as you wrap it around your pom-pom maker here. Good snugness. It's gonna hug it pretty tight. Make sure it's nice and even here. Okay, see how the yarn is quickly building up on the maker. And we're gonna just do the same thing on the other side, basically. Okay, so that's pretty thick, see? Close it, and then I'm just gonna cut it here and open the other side up. Do the same thing. Hold it with my left finger to get it started. Push it down to get into that corner real good. And wrap your yarn evenly across this half of the maker. Same thing. Okay, and do a few layers until, again, that half circle's about filled up. All right. In the corner, take special care and attention to make sure it is equally filled like the rest of it. It's sometimes hard to get that corner. Okay, there we go. And just making sure it's even across. Build up on the thickness here to make a dense pom-pom, basically. And again, I'm doing this for my blanket. I'm attaching all these colors to my rainbow block blanket, which I used my circular knitting machine to make. It was a fun project. Okay, and this is kind of the last part of the blanket I'm doing, is making the ends of the blanket with these cute little fluffy pom-poms. good. A little bit right there. Okay, so close it up, snap, and that's what it looks like when it's ready to be cut. Okay, so I have kitchen shears that I bought to cut my yarn because these little things wouldn't do it. All right, so you find a little crease here, stick your scissors in there and just cut it, and find the crease, and that's your guideline for the bottom half of your scissors to follow it along. Make sure your pom-pom stays closed, and just simply cut it around. Now the corners, I will use the smaller scissors to get into those corners because these are pretty thick and they don't get into those small corners very easily. Again, make sure pom-pom stays closed and follow the guideline of the crease to cut your pom-pom so that it stays as even as possible. Okay, and cut into there, and voila. All right, so now we're going to take about 6 inches of your yarn, 6 to 8, and we're going to wrap it around the side here, and you're gonna have to tie it double knot real tight, super tight in there, but not so tight you break your yarn, and tie it double knot. Okay, then bring it around to the other side again and secure it with one more double knot. Okay, again, real tight, but not so much you break the yarn, but you do want to make sure you're securing that pom-pom as much as possible. Okay, next we are going to open it up and pull it apart. And see, your pom-pom maker just put the pin back in the hole, and there you go, it's back together again. And there's your pom-pom. I like to keep these two attached to the project. All right, next you just want to see if there's any strays, and see when you fluff it up, you can't even see where the seam is where you tied it together, but now you just look for some strays here and just kind of cut them off, make sure it looks a little bit more even. That's why the tension is so important, so you have less of these strays. This is actually pretty good though. Okay, and there's your fluffy pom-pom. Squish.